After almost 2 years of waiting, not a single ballot box has been opened for the vice presidential recount. Why? Because of this guy. Justice Benjamin S. Caguioa, brother of dismissed Judge Ramon Caguioa. So, how did Ben manage to prolong the recount for 2 years? Has he been fair in handling the VP electoral protest? Or has he been a puppet of the Liberal Party? Here are the top 9 ways Supreme Court Justice Benjamin Caguioa has pooped on the judicial system. Number 1. Caguioa scheduled a preliminary conference of the case 1 year after the case was filed. This already violates the Presidential Electoral Tribunal rule, which states that the preliminary conference should be set 10 days after the receipt of Robredo's answer. It should have been set not later than September 9, 2016, but was scheduled on June 21, 2017, only to be postponed for July 11, 2017. It can be remembered that when Rojas filed for a protest against B9, it took the PET only less than 3 months to set the first conference. Number 2. Retrieval of ballot boxes. Under PET rules, the retrieval order for the collection of the ballot boxes for the recount should have been issued within 48 hours from receipt of the answer of Robredo or last August 17, 2016. The retrieval order was, however, issued more than a year later on, or August 29, 2017. Number 3. Late payments. Under the PET rules, if you don't pay on time, the court can dismiss your counter-protest. Robredo did not file her first installment set in April 2017 on time, but Caguioa did not do anything about it and even granted her an open-ended grace period. Marcos, on the other hand, was given only 2 days during the Holy Week break to pay his $36 million down payment. Despite of this, he managed to meet his deadline and pay them out in order not to further delay the case. Number 4. When the deadline of the payment of the second installment was due on July 14, 2017, Robredo's lawyer again said they will ask the court to defer her payment until upon initial determination has been made. Thereafter, in a resolution, the PET granted Robredo's motion and indefinitely deferred the payment of the last tranche of her protest fee. Number 5. 8,000 witnesses. Caguioa gave a 5-day non-extendable deadline for Marcos to come up with 8,000 witnesses for his third cause of action, which is the annulment of votes in Maguindanao, Basilan, and Lanao del Sur. When Marcos was able to comply with his order, Caguioa deferred to act on the case. Number 6. Unusually fast. Robredo filed last November 15, 2016, an ex parte motion moving to decrypt the SD cards that were found to have data during stripping activities of the VCMs in Santa Rosa, Laguna. Note that the SD cards were not supposed to have data because they came from unused VCMs. On November 22, 2016, or just 7 days later, Caguioa issued an order granting Robredo's motion and ordered Comelec to conduct the decryption of the SD cards. That was unusually fast for the pace that he had set. Number 7. Marcos shoulders Leni's costs. Just recently, Caguioa granted Marcos's motion to decrypt the SD cards in his 3 pilot provinces to expedite the proceedings, which he was required to pay in full. Note that Robredo had earlier opposed the conduct of the decryption. But despite shouldering all the costs for the paper, toner, personnel, and so on, so far reaching more than 7 million pesos, Marcos could not get a single copy of the documents from the decryption because he has to get another approval from the PET. On the other hand, Caguioa granted Robredo's motion to get the soft copy of the decryption documents despite her earlier opposition and not paying a single cent. This despite the strong opposition of Marcos, arguing that she should at least shoulder part of the cost of the decryption. In the end, and as expected, Caguioa disallowed Marcos to get the hard copies he already paid for. Number 8. Delayed again. The revision was initially scheduled for February 2018, but it was postponed once again to March 19. The reason this time was that the 50 revisers should undergo psychological examination, something that is not even in the PET's rulebook. And number 9, delayed once again. The start of the manual recount has once again been moved to another date, April 2, 2018. Reason being only 42 out of the 50 revisers have passed the psychological exam. That means the Chief Justice will be barely qualified as a reviser. As they say, justice delayed is justice denied. And it has been 2 years that the Marcoses have been fighting a one-sided battle. Do you think Justice Caguioa has been a puppet of the Liberal Party? If you do, like and share.
On June 28, 2016, I filed my electoral protest with the Presidential Electoral Tribunal. It is sad to note that this week we take cognizance of the 100th week since the June 28 filing. And in that time, we have experienced all forms of delays, all forms of obfuscation, just so that we could not actually get finally to the recount and to examine the actual ballots.
Nag-file ako ng aking protesta June 28 ng 2016 pagkatapos ng halalan. Nag-antay tayo ng halos isang taon bago nagkaroon ng preliminary conference. Nakakapagtaka dahil sa ibang protesta ng Vice President na kandidato sa nakaraan ay 3 months pa lang nabigyan na ng preliminary conference. Pero ako pinag-antay ako ng halos isang taon. Pagkatapos nun, ang daming mga deferment dahil itong pagkuha ng ating mga revisor, biglang linagyan ng kung ano-ano mga requirement.
Sana ginawa na yun last year. Pwede na niyang gawin yun last year. Hindi pa naman ginawa. Ngayon pa lang na parating na tayo dun sa recount, bigla na lang nagkaroon na naman ng delay.
So humingi kami ng copy of ballot images. Naku, pinagbayad kami 7 million.
Another 7 million?
Inobjekan naman ng kabila. Sinabi nila, we should not have those ballot images. Inobjekan nila. Pero it was granted, so we paid 7 million para sa papel, para sa toner, para sa tao, etc. etc. Yung ginagawa na, yung pag-process nun, the camp of Leni Robredo, who had objected to the images, now humingi ng soft copy na hindi babayaran. And unfortunately, Justice Kaguiwa granted it. So, nasa kanyang kopya for free, I paid 7 million. Hanggang ngayon, wala pa sa akin. Yung pag may motion galing sa kabila, walang 2, 3 araw, 5 araw, tapos na, may decision na. Ako, magdadalawang taon na, hindi pa nagsisimula yung recount. Bakit ganun? Bakit naman ganun? Hindi na yata tama ito.
When the recount actually started, kaya naman pala sila umiiwas dahil naglabasan na binasa yung balota, binasag yung ballot box, maraming kulang na dokumento, yung mga pirma hindi pare-pareho. All of these things came out. Kaya yan ang pinagdadaanan natin ngayon.
Panibagong ebidensya na naman ng post-election tampering para maitago ang totoong resulta daw ng 2016 national elections ang nadiskubre na naman sa isinasagawang manual recount ng Presidential Electoral Tribunal o PET para sa vice presidential race. Noong nakarang linggo na pag-alaman ng PET ang ilang balota mula sa Camarines Sur na tila sinunog ng sigarilyo. Bukod sa mga sunog sa gilid ng balota, may mga butas rin umano ito sa gitnang bahagi. Indikasyon umano na pinaso ang mga balota. Nakita umano mga ito ng revisors sa mga ballot boxes mula sa bayan naman ng Ocampo. Ang mga kaparehong ballot box din daw ay nadiskubre na walang mga opisyal na dokumento gaya ng election return, voters receipt, minutes of voting at iba pa.
The Presidential Electoral Tribunal begins the retrieval of ballot boxes in Iloilo Province.
Presidential Electoral Tribunal or PET inspected each ballot box used in the province of Iloilo during the 2016 national elections. 5 ballot boxes have been reportedly damaged due to typhoon.
Akala ko, nakita ko na lahat. Ang gulat ko naman, nakita ko yung nakuha sa Iloilo Province, hindi na ballot box. Yung pampiknik na plastic na linagay, na sabi ko, bakit masyado ng garapalan ito? Talagang si Bego gumawa nito. Sino kayo mga balasubas na gumawa nito na sinira ang balota para masira ang proseso natin ng halalan? Masira ang proseso ng protesta. Dahil mukhang hindi sila natatakot na kahit na mahuli sila na ginawa ito, nalabag sa batas, ay ginawa pa rin nila. Sino kaya itong na binabaliwala ang boses ng tao, na binabastos ang taong bayan?
I still believe that 100 weeks, 2 years from the election is far too long to keep the Filipino people completely in the dark as to who, in fact, won the vice presidential election. It's time that we come to the truth, and it is time that we learn from this experience so that it does not happen again, that a bona fide, honest, sincere protest that is based on a belief of the problems that were seen, the anomalies, the problems, and possibly the cheating that were seen in the 2016 election not be repeated. This is uncharted territory in terms of election protests, because all of the protests thus far never reached this stage. Nagkaroon ng preliminary conference pero hindi umabot dito sa pag-hire ng revisor, pag-hire ng lawyers, pag-recover ng balota, pagbilang ng balota. So medyo bagong bago pa lang, ngayon pa lang nangyari ito. I truly believe that we have to do this, because if we are to just allow this to happen, then it will embolden those who interfered with the electoral process to do it again. And this will reduce our elections to nothing more than a fallacy of the actual opinion of our people.
The Supreme Court, acting as the Presidential Electoral Tribunal or PET, suspends the ballot recount in the electoral protest filed by former Senator Bongbong Marcos against Vice President Leni Robredo. Robredo's lawyer and Marcos's lead legal counsel say no reason was given for the decision. The PET was conducting an initial ballot recount in the 3 pilot provinces that Marcos has chosen: Camarines Sur, Iloilo, and Negros Oriental. The PET earlier ruled that the results of this initial recount would determine whether or not the rest of Marcos's electoral protest has any merit. The PET suspends the ballot recount a little over a month after Marcos asked the High Court to immediately order the technical examination of voting records in Basilan, Llano del Sur, and Maguindanao. Marcos wants the PET to nullify the votes in the said areas due to alleged widespread cheating.
Vice President Leni Robredo urges the Supreme Court, sitting as a Presidential Electoral Tribunal or PET, to rule on the revision of pilot provinces, claiming clear victory versus Bongbong Marcos in the electoral protest Thursday, June 13. Robredo's motion reads, quote, "Without preempting the resolution of the Honorable Tribunal, the result of the revision, recount, and reappreciation of the ballots clearly confirmed the victory of protestee Robredo. The recount was conducted in the provinces of Camarines Sur, Negros Oriental, and Iloilo as selected by Marcos. The Robredo camp claims the lead has grown to 279,215, or an increase of around 15,000 votes. Marcos's lawyer Vic Rodriguez calls these claims misleading. He says, quote, "What they have at the moment are all self-serving assumptions meant to mislead." The recount started April 2018.
Thank you for watching. For more information, you can visit our website bagonglipunan.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.